Hello again. Today I'm going to make Oaty dunkers. They're a crisp biscuit and as the name implies they're perfect for dipping into tea or coffee. Not everybody approves of dunking biscuits but they taste wonderful. Now I've got the oven on to gas mark 4, which is 180 degrees Celsius, 160 if you've got a fan oven, or 350 degrees Fahrenheit if you're working in Fahrenheit. And I've got 3 baking trays that need to be lined with either greaseproof paper or a non-stick liner of some sort. You'll make 24 and they do spread, so get 3 trays ready. Now, the first thing we need is to melt together some golden syrup, sugar and butter, and it's 115 grams of each. And the easiest way to measure golden syrup is to put your saucepan on the scales, turn the scales on, and then 115. Syrup is one of the messiest things to weigh out and measure. Just keep an eye on that. There we are, 115. Now to that, I've already got my sugar weighed out. That's 115 as well, so I can take the pan off there really. Let's get that out of the way. And also 115 of unsalted butter or margarine. So they all go in together. And they need to be melted very gently. You don't want it to boil because it will boil over and it will burn. So over to the cooker next. I'm going to turn that down so it's a little bit low. And what we're aiming for is for the soft brown sugar to dissolve into the liquid syrup and butter. So just give it a bit of a stir to help it, but do this gently because you really don't want it to burn. Now as you can see, that's melting quite nicely, and I've actually turned the heat off because the residual heat that's built up in the pan will be enough to just finish off melting those last bits of butter, and that way we're not heating it to a boiling point. So just keep it moving and you'll be able to feel if you've got any lumps of sugar in there, and you can see how that's just carried on melting even though the heat is off. So now I'm going to go back over to the work surface and add this to the other ingredients. Now I put that onto a rubber mat because it's quite hot and I just want to protect the work surface a bit. Into my big mixing bowl I'm going to put 150 grams of porridge oats and 150 grams of self-raising flour. And you can add extra flavourings at this point. You could put in a little handful of dried fruit, you could put in some chopped nuts, and I'm actually going to put in some ginger, some ground ginger. And half a teaspoon is plenty because, as we've found with other things, if you add too much ginger you can finish up with a soapy flavour. So just give those a mix round. You can use that little spoon that you've measured your ginger with. And now all we do is add our liquid to this bowl. There we are, and we stir. And it takes a minute or two. Move that. It'll take a minute or two to get them to combine. And it smells lovely. It's got a sort of a flapjacky smell and flavour to some extent as well. So remember, you could put fruit or nuts in here if you wanted to. Keep mixing until all the flour gets soaked by the liquid. And you finish up with this sort of teddy bear coloured dough. Now we've got to get this onto the baking trays, and I've got 3 ready. And you need to just take out a little lump that's a bit like the size of a walnut, roll it between your palms, it doesn't want to stick much, and space them out. I'm going to get 10 on this sheet, so walnut sized pieces. Squeeze it and roll it. I'll get 3 there and then 2 on the next row. So I'm going to keep doing this and you'll see how I've spaced them in a minute or two. 3, 6, 7, 8, and I'll get 2 more on here. In fact, I'm going to just give them a bit more room because I know these are old and they really do spread. It doesn't matter if they join together, but it's better if they don't. There you are. that's my first tray. Now all I'm going to do is just press them down and move on to the next tray. Okay, I'll just keep going now. Now, as you can see, my trays are full. I've got 25, not 24, and they're going to go in the oven for between 12 and 14 minutes. So, middle of the oven for the first 2, and set the timer for 12 minutes. And when the top tray is done, take that one out, move the second one up, and then put the third one in. And you'll have to adjust the timer. Keep an eye on them because they do burn at the edges if you're not careful. So 12 minutes, and when the top one comes out, move the next one up, okay? Now, this is my third tray. Oh yeah, they're great. So, just turn the oven off. When they come out, they are incredibly soft, and there's no way you could lift that off the tray. So let that sit for about 10 minutes if you can. And then, as this is my second one, this has already had its 10 minutes, and they firm up and set so that you can get them off and put them onto a cooling rack. Now this is going to fill up, obviously, so the first ones that came out, you can stack up because those have cooled, and that will give you a bit more space. Okay, so I'm going to take those off, and they're going to cool, finish cooling, and these I won't take off for another few minutes. But remember, these are for dunking into tea or dipping into coffee. They are quite crisp when they're cold, so do be careful, but they're really delicious. So have a go and let me know how you get on. Bye.